You can count the number of kart racing games on new gen consoles on one mitten, and even then you're pretty much limited to the Wii U, what with Mario Kart 8 and Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Beach Buggy Racing from Vector Unit is an attempt to right this wrong, even though it technically doesn't count. You see, while it's now on Xbox One and PS4, it was originally a mobile game. Now, given its mobile roots, you'd imagine it may be played with horrible, low-poly graphics, but Beach Buggy Racing doesn't actually look terrible. I mean, let's be realistic, it's obviously no Phantom Pain, but its tropical tracks are colourful enough to get the job done. Kart games are often sold on the strength of their characters, and since Beach Buggy Racing isn't a licensed product, it obviously suffers here. I've put about 20 hours into the game, and the only reason I can remember the racers' names is because I'm staring at them right now. It's hardly that Nintendo one, what do you call it, the one with the fat prick with the moustache. One advantage it does actually have over Mario Kart though, and I promise that's not a phrase you'll hear again for the rest of this review, is that each character has their own special move unique to them. Let's go on a tour, shall we? Look, just put up with it, I've captured all this footage so we're going on a fucking tour. Rez is the default character. Keeping on brand, here he is playing another Vector Unit game, Riptide GP2, which I'll be reviewing soon. His special move is Burning Rubber, which is basically a speed boost that leaves a trail of fire behind him. Anyone who drives over it apparently goes on fire. I say apparently because the game has no button for looking behind you, so there's no real way of telling that this is what's happening. Disco Jimmy, who you just know is an enormous dodgy bastard, has a special move Dance Fever. This fires a big disco ball along the track, making anyone in front of you swerve around. It's not clear whether they're dancing to the beat or whether the disco ball is secretly dropping Rohypnol in their drinks as it flies over. El Zippo is a lucha libre wrestler, in case you couldn't tell. His skill is called Off the Ropes, which sounds impressive, but it just means he takes out anyone he drives into. It's basically like a star in Mario Kart. Leilani, aka Mylene Class from Hearsay, has a crap power-up called Flower Power. It drops a trail of flowers behind her, slowing down anyone who drives over it, although again you can't really see behind you to see whether this is actually happening. Beach Bro, what a prick, has an odd move called Ball Blaster, which just shoots out a fuck ton of beach balls in random directions. If they hit someone, which they rarely do, it just makes them jump into the air a wee bit, so it's a bit rubbish. Roxy Roller, meanwhile, is a roller derby riot girl apparently, because you get them at beaches a lot it seems. She has the Derby Dash, which again just means she can take out anyone she drives into. Then there's Bizorp, the space alien, who has probably the most interesting move, though it's a bit of a bastard to get going. His Telezorp move lets him lock onto a racer in front of him. Once you're locked on for long enough, he'll teleport over and two will switch places. Oog Oog is... what a fucking name. Oog Oog is a Tiki sorcerer. I haven't yet decided if he's a racist character, but there you go. His special move is Tiki Curse, which basically lobs a Crash Bandicoot mask down the track and forces anyone in its path to turn off into a nearby wall. McSkelly is a ghostly pirate with possibly the worst power up of the bunch. Ghost Ride turns him translucent and lets him drag through other racers. Brilliant. And finally there's Benny, a weird prick in a bunny suit. He's got the massively overpowered carrot cannon, which fires a load of exploding carrots in front of you like a machine gun, almost guaranteeing a hit. And that's everyone. Brilliant stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. Most of these special moves are pretty powerful then, but like a United Colours of Benetton ad, you only get one in each race. More disappointingly, they're not exactly equal either. Beach Bro's daft wee beach ball thing is nowhere near as devastating as Oog Oog's voodoo thingy or Benny's carrot gun, meaning when you eventually unlock everyone, you'll only realistically have one or two characters who are worth playing as. The racers are pretty forgettable then, but the tracks fare a little better. Each has at least one shortcut that'll make life easier for you if you can master it, and they're generally pleasing enough to race along, even though the wide roads and turns are obviously designed for a phone's tilt controls. What's less enjoyable is the way the game is constantly trying to level the odds. Many would refer to this as rubber banding, but a lot of people use that phrase without really knowing what it means. There are multiple ways of making a racing game unfair, and rubber banding, in which the cars behind you get inexplicably faster so they can catch up, is only one of them. Beach Buggy Racing doesn't do this. If you take a good lead and navigate each turn properly, opponents won't magically catch up to you. Instead though, it constantly tries to hit you with cheap power-ups, be it confusion rays that reverse your controls, gravity bombs that make you float in the air, or of course the inevitable blue shell equivalent, here represented by a screaming bat thing that flies up to whoever's in first place and whaps him in the balls. In fairness, you can block it with a shield, but you're likely to get hit with 2 or 3 per race, so the likelihood of you being able to block them all is low, which is shite. It's not rubber banding mind, but it's still shite. There are 2 main gameplay modes in Beach Buggy Racing. Championships are your standard Mario Kart style efforts in which you take part in a series of races to try and earn enough points to finish first. It's pretty basic stuff. Then there's the career, which has you enter in progressively more difficult series, each consisting of a number of events. These range from standard races to elimination races, you know, the ones where the person in last is knocked out, to time-based ones where you have to shoot a certain number of targets or ram a certain number of enemies within a time limit. Of course, none of this is redefining the genre, not by a long shot. It's merely designed to keep things a little bit more interesting and hold your attention for a little bit longer, and it works to an extent. Being completely honest though, if I wasn't an Xbox achievement obsessed wanker, I'd have been done with beach buggy racing long before the 20 hours I eventually spent on it. While it serves a purpose, it's fairly generic stuff, and playing the same 15 tracks over and over again in career mode gets boring long before you reach the end. I wouldn't go out of my way to get beach buggy racing then, but if you're a fan of karting games and you see it for a couple of quid during one of the weekly Xbox deals with gold sales, then you might as well take it out for a spin. Did you get it? For a spin?